I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. I hold my chest when I drop these. Once upon a smoke unconscious. Go ponder trauma responses. No return to sender till you bones to pick. Devil on his own agenda. Fully loaded when it renders. This that lonely bender on the strip. Feeling solo at the party and the low he's dipped. D totaled the whip, best way it could go. Last know is the Van Wick, he evaded the nose. Don't call a coyote ugly or a pony quick. Do remember, it's all heard, elephants don't forget. I want the dude to even make those 40 years. Shorty blowing smoke rings across the lawn, you know the gist. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here.
Videos of stores broken into and damaged over and over and over again. But it turns out crimes like these may not only be hurting businesses in Oakland, but also the city's bottom line. Our Kara St. Cyr has more on a new study that says a lack of public safety is directly impacting Oakland's budget crisis.
We have some shrimp tacos and fish tacos too. Feel very terrible, and then like I said, it's very stressful to like trying to run a business and having like so many robberies.
Osvaldo Sanchez's restaurant in Oakland has been broken into 22 times between 2016 and 2024.
We changed the lock because he also was broken so many times that the lock didn't work anymore, so we had to change that.
Each break-in cost him thousands of dollars, fixing windows and doors. But he also loses out on customers.
People are feeling unsafe, they don't want to go out to eat because they're not feeling safe.
A new report from the Bay Area Council Economic Institute shows that crime like Sanchez experiences is linked to Oakland's budget crisis.
Oakland can't get out of its budget crisis if it doesn't first solve its public safety crisis.
Jeff Belisario, one of the authors of the report and the executive director of the council, says data shows that Oakland's budget woes often keep police underfunded, which he says comes with dire economic consequences.
More than half of Oakland residents are actually leaving the city to do their shopping, right? So that has an impact on sales tax. When we ask people across the East Bay how they feel about Oakland, nearly 3/4 say they're avoiding Oakland's restaurants, bars, entertainment options because they don't feel safe.
The report highlighted 13 recommendations, including suggestions for loosening police oversight and increased funding for OPD, something Sanchez thinks would help his business.
If you did it more secure on the streets, more police outside, I think that's also going to help a little bit in terms of robberies.
So you may have already seen that news cycle a couple weeks ago when the report came out, but I wanted to cover it today. But first off, peace, Oakland. Happy Monday. I'm doing a live thing for the summer because editing is a lot of work, but I want to keep doing the show. And so my way of taking a half of a vacation, because I am fully dedicated to getting the truth out about Oakland's corruption, and you can't take a play off when you're dealing with these devils in City Hall. And I don't say devils lightly. We're going to get into that today, just how dishonest these individuals are and how they don't even care that they're collapsing our city. Did you hear the frustration and pain in that business owner's voice? Did you hear it? Interesting. Well, Valley Joe, thank you for the comment. I want to hear about that later. We're not talking about that too much today, but I do appreciate you leaving a comment. If you hear the frustration, or if you share the frustration from that business owner, please leave me a comment. I may post it, or like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on X watching this, as most of you are, go over to YouTube for me for just a second and go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube. I'm almost to 1,000, and we're trying to get this message out to everyone in Oakland that this city needs to be held accountable. People in City Hall, for example, we just elected mostly a new government. Has anyone heard from Charlene Wayne? Has anyone heard from Rowena Brown? We have another absentee at-large person who seems to think her position is, I don't know what she's doing. Has she made a single public statement At-large is an extremely important position in Oakland. They represent the entire city. It's a city-wide election. Have you heard anything from our at-large elected official? I haven't. If I'm wrong, please let me know and comment. So we're covering 2 reports today. We're covering the Alameda County Grand Jury report that chose to focus only on Oakland, the entire county of Alameda they had to pick from, and they chose to focus entirely on the city of Oakland for a reason that we're getting to in just a moment. And we're also going to be talking about that report that was just in the news cycle with the Bay Area Council about the impact of crime on Oakland and some of the very common sense and obvious recommendation that needs to be had. Now, here's my belief before I get into the most of the episode. The progressives know that it's the end of the road for their grift. Well, actually, let me take that back. Barbara Lee has actually appointed now 3 defund the police architects. Mia Saka-Chin, who was Nikki Bass' chief of staff, she appointed the director of APEN, I forgot her name at the moment, escapes me, major defund the police person, and then Muhammad from the Port of Oakland, she appointed to the Port. Why is every single person Barbara Lee is appointing to major positions of power and influence connected directly to police abolitionists or defund the police movements? Is it any secret that the latest budget cuts the police? So let's get into that, actually. Got a little slideshow for you. Let's talk first about the OPOA press conference, press release that came out today. Oakland, July 4th, weekend violence. 1 murder, 5 people shot, 1 officer struck by a DUI driver, now hospitalized. I think we have DUI checkpoints. Maybe they tried to run through a checkpoint. I'm just speculating. Don't quote me on that. 2 major sideshows, according to Oakland Police Officers Union. Oakland. Violence erupted throughout Oakland during the 3-day July 4th Independence Day holiday. A man was murdered after an argument in West Oakland, while 5 others were victims of shooting. I think we need to start paying attention to how many people get shot. Because over at Highland Hospital, we have probably maybe the best trauma center in the country. Definitely top 10. And so they are experts at saving lives. These people are like war zone, combat, doctors and nurses. They save lots of lives of people who may have died if they did not get access to that level of care. And I think we need to start treating everyone who gets shot with the same seriousness of someone who actually died because they could have died because they got shot. That makes sense to you guys? A recently promoted officer was allegedly struck by a drunk driver near Lake Merritt on Saturday. The officer was treated and released, but will likely be off duty for a period as he dislocated his shoulder. He was arresting a suspect when a car struck him. And at least 2 sideshows plague Oakland's intersections and neighborhoods. Sunday night at International and 13th, and 1 Friday that continued into Saturday morning. And so which brings me to the Alameda County Grand Jury reports. All right. Try to break this down so everyone can understand it. We're going to go through first the Alameda County Grand Jury final report. I do have some notes here, but before we get into the notes, I want to actually read the executive summary. I think it's very, very well written. I want to read it from here so everyone can get a sense of just how serious this is. I don't think you really understand how incompetent City Hall is. It's not just Xing Tao. It's not just her. We're going to get to how incompetent she is and how she played a role in what's going on right now, but it's not just her. It's Nikki Bass. It's Carol Fife. Rebecca Kaplan, Dan Cow. All of them. Now, our new people, we're not going to add you. If your name is Ken Houston, Rowena Brown, Kevin Jenkins, or Charlie Wayne, the verdict is out But you guys just approved the budget. So just know if the budget that you just approved, although Noel Gallo voted no, Carol Fife walked out. Carol Fife seems to be walking out and not voting on anything lately. You guys notice that? Anyway, let me read this. Forward. The 2024-2025 Alameda County Grand Jury received an unusually high number of complaints concerning the city of Oakland. While the grand jury normally investigates complaints across Alameda County this year, because of the significance of the issue, we primarily focus on Oakland. As the county seat and its largest municipality, these investigations serve the citizens, us, of Alameda County, the citizens. And this is why you haven't seen a single press release from the city of Oakland comms department about this. I wonder why. What's going on, Barbara Lee? You just got here. I mean, you could tell the truth about what happened before you. At minimum, we should be able to trust you with that. Oakland is a dynamic and beautiful city, but also complex, home to over 425,000 residents and a wide range of major employees, both in the public and private sector, with a major seaport and an international airport. Oakland is an economic engine that helps to fuel regional growth in Alameda County. Not only should Oaklanders benefit from a better city, but all of Alameda County benefit from a better Oakland. It is well reported that Oakland has had significant financial issues and problems in providing basic services to its residents. This report speaks to the responsibility of the city to provide these basic services, finding that in many respects, Oakland has failed in its duties to its citizens. Within our report, we examine several issues related to revenues that drive the delivery of city services. With each investigation, they explore individual issues in providing findings and recommendations. Let me skip to the next one. Oh, let me not skip that. They collectively highlight a broader concern, a breakdown in oversight and accountability. The grand jury found a stunning commonality across the city of Oakland's governance, a failure to provide citizens, us, oversight and internal controls. Oakland has an intrinsic set of boards and commissions that are designed to oversee policy. Although only 4 are formally required by the city charter, Port, Civil Service, Public Ethics, and Police, Oakland has over 40 boards and commissions that are intended to provide citizen oversight. These boards and commissions are vital in managing programs and advising elected officials. The grand jury found failures in this process. While certain commissions met as scheduled, other commissions with critical oversight functions failed to meet, some canceling meetings mere minutes before they were scheduled to begin. The most troubling findings was a fundamental disconnect regarding the city's financial condition. Elected officials testified that Oakland is financially sound, with substantial assets and no threat to insolvency. In contrast, they're lying. I mean, these people are gaslighting us. In contrast, city finance and administrative staff warn that the city faces immediate fiscal crisis or risk, further complicating our investigation with public information that was released and then retracted in the form of a November 8, 2024 memo explicitly warning of insolvency. We covered that here in possible bankruptcy. Elected officials claim the document was released as a mistake. The lady who released that document, let me put this on pause for a second. The lady who released that document, Erin Rosen, I think her name was, resigned. She also claimed that she was being forced to make up revenue. Very interesting. And elected officials claimed the document was released as a mistake. No, it wasn't a mistake. She was a white hat trying to leak information to the public that we're privy to because the city hall is always trying to cover up everything. Are you angry yet that they keep wasting your taxpayer dollars? Because if you're not angry yet, wait until you see what's inside these reports. Get back to it. Even so, nothing could discount the severity of the situation. with replacement memos still warning that immediate action is necessary to maintain the solvency of a general purpose fund, unquote. The grand jury also found elected officials had the expectation that bond sales would continue. Conversely, Oakland's financial officials expressed concerns that the city could not currently satisfy the requirement for disclosures and certification without significant budget reform. At this time of the report, there's no clarity on the city's ability to sell bonds to fund critical infrastructure in the near term. Clearly, there has been a chasm between what disclosures are publicly made and the actual financial conditions facing the city that hamper the ability to provide even the most basic city services. The grand jury acknowledges the dynamic and challenging environment in which Oakland finds itself. Just as an example, during our one-year term, the city will have had 4 mayors and 4 new members of the city council. That said, the grand jury found much of the oversight and reporting to the public was simply not taking place. It found the process of government, in many cases, to be largely broken and siloed. They're doing everything short of saying Oakland City Hall is fucking corrupt. You know what? Thank you, Alameda County Grand Jury. There's also an executive summary. Now, I don't want to bore people, so I'm going to go through some bullet points rather than read this. I encourage you all, please go to read the Alameda County Grand Jury report for yourself. Because Oakland's budget problems means no bonds for the city's needs if we can't sell them. We are facing a structural deficit in city's general purpose fund. There seems to be no wherewithal to even understand it. And let me go to some bullet points that I've created for you all. We'll come back to this report in a second. So let's go to the first part. Oakland is on the brink of insolvency, and city leaders lied about it. Go back and watch as many Gotham episodes as you want. It's been a consistent theme. City Hall is dishonest because they are failing us because they're pocketing the money. We have systemic corruption. We have pay for play. We have an army of nonprofits all connected somehow to either public sector labor unions and base building for the progressives, where they funnel money back to the people and help them get elected so they can keep getting their contracts approved. This is basic level stuff. We need RICO investigations into pretty much every single elected official. And we need to talk more openly and publicly about why you cannot seem to get elected in Oakland, California, unless the public sector union says so, unless the NGO complex says so, unless the major California endowments and San Francisco Foundation said so. And why do I say those entities? Because they all work together as a perfect circle. Right? 100% of the time. They don't break ranks because there is a more nefarious agenda at play. Now, I'm not going to get too much into that. If you're not watching Gotham Oakland and you don't know about who's actually behind these army of NGOs, China, California Progressive Association, hint, hint, go back and watch those episodes. But we're here to talk about this Alameda County Grand Jury report. Now, while Oakland elected officials claimed that Oakland was financially stable, they lied. We already talked about that memo. Now, they downplayed or withheld this information, like the Starred Coliseum sale. How many times did they have press conferences and press releases, patting themselves on the back, like, yeah, the Coliseum, we sold it again. Oh, the money was late? Oh, no, we reworked the deal. We're going to actually get more money now, maybe in the future. We're not going to get anything. Let's move on to number 2. I told you guys, this Coliseum is never going to be sold to AASEG. I don't know how many times I keep telling you that. I don't know how many of you keep telling me I'm wrong. I'm batting 1,000. We batting 1,000 out here in these Oakland streets with my prediction. Y'all need to tap into Gotham Oakland, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that YouTube, social media stuff to make sure you stay in touch. Let's talk about these bonds. Remember when Oakland's former mayor, Chantal, could not tell us how a bond even worked when asked by the East Bay Times? And yet, 39,990 of you still voted for her. If you're listening to this program and you're one of the people who voted for Shing Tao, and you have not apologized to your neighbor yet, I need you to just scream out the window, Oakland, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Oakland. I didn't pay attention. I just should not have voted for her. If you voted for Barbara Lee, get ready to say you're sorry about that too, because she's messed it up just as much. So, voter approved over $1.45 billion in bonds, Measure KK and Measure U, for paving roads, building housing, and fixing infrastructure. But because of the city's credit downgrade and budget mismanagement, no new bond sales are possible, halting nearly all large-scale capital projects. The streets are in such disrepair. We don't have potholes. We have craters. We know our craters like our first cousins in Oakland. We can dodge around them joints in our sleep. And that's how you know you in a neighborhood you never been in. You be hitting potholes like, damn it, I didn't know this pothole was there, because we know them. We are programmed. They are everywhere. Anyway, the streets are in such disrepair that Oakland has only paved 18 miles of road in the most recent fiscal year, down from the goal of 55 plus. Meanwhile, the city of Oakland has over $748 million in unsold bonds collecting dust. There's a reason that Oakland's roads have not been paved. I'm just going to bring this up. We did an episode on this already, but I need to just make sure we're all on the same page here. If you're not subscribed to the Oakland Report Substack, please do so. There was a March 11, 2024 story about the inequitable equity of Oakland paving and how City Council stalled Oakland's paving program for a year and a half, costing $6 million extra. Why? Because Carol Fife intervened, taking the contract away from a Latino-owned company because she wanted to give it to a Black-owned company. That's it. Not who was better, not who was worse, just her own little pet project stalled and cost the city over $6 million. Carol Fife is at fault. Carol Fife cost the city $6 million. Carol Fife held up the paving. Hold Carol Fife accountable for the potholes. If I'm lying, I'm dying, and I'm still very much alive. Anybody want to debate me? Let's go. I'm ready. Nobody ever wants to debate me. Anyway, back to the story. So we can't sell our bonds. Let's go to that part. I think we should go through the actual data that they presented. We got a little time. I got time today, man. We're only 22 minutes into the live. We got time today. Matter of fact, let me look at some of these comments. Why would anybody buy a City of Oakland bond? Hey, now, any word? We need to sell those bonds. And Valley Joe ain't voting for a career politician like Barbara Lee, especially not a Democrat. Well, 5,000 more people voted for her than Lauren Taylor, so now she's our mayor until January of 2027. If Oakland is not bankrupt by then, I will be very much surprised. So let's find the section where they talk about the bonds here. Okay. So the grand jury spoke with a number of city finance officials who were explicit and direct about the difficulties of issuing bonds while the city is having an ongoing financial problems. As predicted, the city's financial conditions lowered its credit rating. All three major rating agencies recently downgraded their ratings 1 or even 2 notches, and all labeled the future rating outlook as negative. Moody, S&P Global Ratings, and Fitch Ratings. Moody on the 5th of December 2024. On February 1st, we had S&P, and November 27th, 2024, we had Fitch. And if you read the key drivers of rating action, for Moody, has not made sufficient and timely budget adjustments to fully absorb one-time pandemic relief monies because they wasted it all and they grifted it all away. Libby Schaaf is responsible for that. Don't let her off the hook. And then also the significant structural budgetary imbalances for 2025 fiscal year. And Fitch said that it reflects notable projected general fund budget gaps. Notable, like anybody can see it, for 2025 and future years. And City Hall has yet to articulate that they even understand the severity of these issues, which is one of the problems. So, brings me to my next point. There's no real oversight on how hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent. And despite promises in voter-approved measures KK and U, no external audits have ever been performed violating the ballot languages. They routinely violate ballot languages. As a matter of fact, Measure NN that we just passed has a mandatory minimum police staffing that we're going to violate. We're not going to have the minimum police staffing, and they don't care. There's never any accountability. I blame voters for that. Voters are responsible for accountability via electorate changes. And we seem to have just elected another group of people who have no clue what the heck they're doing. I'm trying to get this out of my way. Sorry about that. Here we go. Maybe this one will work. Okay. So I want to know, Barbara Lee promised to have a forensic audit on the campaign trail. She used the words forensic audit several times. We are now day 50-something in her first 100 days. We are past the halfway mark in Queen Mayor Barbara Lee's first 100 days. Has she mentioned this audit since she actually won or been sworn in? I don't think so. If I'm wrong, leave me a comment. I would love to be wrong about this. I don't like being so worried about our city. It's pretty bad. All right. So there's no real oversight in how hundreds of millions of dollars are spent. Our I-bond committee is a total failure. They didn't even meet for over a year. They lacked a quorum and members, and they posted meeting cancellations minutes before they were supposed to start, and they have not issued a single Measure U report since 2021, or any report at all. No accountability. Why do Oakland taxpayers keep voting for this stuff? I have a theory. Maybe we're not. When we interview Shiloh Marks, we'll get more into that. Okay. That brings us to the next report. Oakland's crime crisis is directly crippling the local economy. And no, it is not the perception of crime. I don't know if they're picking up the garbage. That's private people doing that anyway, just so you know. They keep saying it's the perception of crime. No, it's crime. That guy's business downtown was broken into 22 times. Like the numbers that just don't even make any sense anymore. I don't even know how he's still in business. The food is good. I mean, it's good. I go there all the time. You should go there yourself. It is on Broadway, right before Grand Avenue, in between Thomas L. Berkeley Way and Grand Avenue. All right. So making Oakland safe and its economy strong, a vision for lasting change. This was actually a great report. And let's go through the highlights here. Oakland's crime crisis is directly crippling the local economy. Property crimes in Oakland is nearly twice as high as San Francisco or San Jose. Out the gate, 6,500 versus 3,800 and 2,600 per 100,000 residents. Double the crime. Businesses are leaving or downsizing. From fiscal year 2022 to 2024, the number of business tax accounts dropped by 14%. Just so you know, when the city of Oakland's finance department and elected officials or the mayor are doing these budget projections, they use best case scenarios always. So this is why there's always this big gap when the reality comes home and they realize that the real estate transfer tax or the business taxes or any taxes that we expected to get aren't happening because no commerce is happening because the city is not safe. If you don't have public safety, you don't have commerce. We need to start thinking of public safety as a community resource. And if it helps the progressives, we need to start thinking of public safety as a human right. And so when public safety is systemically denied under the guise of progressivism to underserved communities, working class communities, business sectors, business corridors, and this human resource is deprived of people who are paying taxes, the city is negligent in its most important job, which is to protect business and commerce, which is the entire reason why cities exist in the first place. And I don't know if we have anyone in City Hall right now who really truly grasps the importance of that. I'm going to leave the judgment out for Councilmember Ken Houston. I know that he cares about local businesses. Former Mayor Kevin Jenkins was one of our 4 mayors. Maybe he cares about local businesses, but your actions are not matching your ambitions, because every one of you approved this budget, which I don't agree with, and I think it's going to see some real problems in the future. The office vacancy is over 50% in downtown Oakland. Property values are declining, and commercial real estate tax revenue is evaporating, like up in smoke. For example, there were buildings built in downtown Oakland in 2016 where it cost over $200 million to build, the build cost, and it sold for less than $100 million. That shocking loss of value is directly attributed to our public safety crisis. And our public safety crisis is attributed to failed policy, or failing for us, successful policies for these nonprofits who want to destroy our cities. There is, at this point, if it's all of the evidence is staring you in the face, and the public sector labor unions and their puppets on city council, who they run and control, refuse to admit the obvious, when will we, as taxpayers, get the pitchforks out and do what's necessary to unelect these people or even have more recalls? Recalls are expensive and timely. I wish we didn't have to go that route. But we proved that it's possible. We proved that it's possible to recall a mayor or any elected official in Oakland, California, if the people actually are fed up and have had enough. So let's talk about this structural death spiral, doom loop, that all of the progressives seem to want to ignore. Every single time there's a positive news cycle or Oakland restaurant gets a Michelin star, they want to act like the city all of a sudden is saved, and it just erase all of these things that we're talking about, like just, oop, gone, no structural deficit, no problems with our bonds. I still, you know what, I want to know how many elected officials can explain to us how a bond works. Can any of them actually explain how a bond works? I want to know. I really want to know. I don't think they can. So the city faces $115 to $130 million in annual deficits through 2030, even after raising taxes. 45% of Oakland's general fund goes to public safety, but the current budget only maintains status quo staffing levels. And since sales tax revenue is stagnant, real estate transfer tax and business receipts are failing. Remember, I just told you about those real estate transfer taxes. The city's economic foundation is unraveling under the weight of public safety failures. If you're a business owner trying to survive in Oakland, this report confirms what you likely already feel. Your safety, your workers' safety, your customers' sense of security are under direct assault by city councils and the mayor's failure to serve us. And without bold policy shifts, the city's tax base, services, and economic prospects will continue to deteriorate. Let's look into some of the studies. The Bay Area Council Economic Institute is housed and supported by the Bay Area Council since 1990. This institute has been a leading think tank focused on the economy of the San Francisco, Silicon Valley Bay Area, a forum for stakeholder engagement and a respected source of information and fact-based analysts. The Institute is a partner and advisor to both business leaders and government officials, universities, and overseas partners. Executive summary. I'm going to read this entire executive summary, and then I'm going to give some closing thoughts, do some water, and wrap up this program. And I want you to consider how similar this is to the Alameda County Grand Jury report. And then I want you to think about how serious Oakland's situation is. And then I want you to think about who's about to go on summer vacation like they don't have a care in the world that everything's falling apart. And then I want you to ask yourself, why is the media not telling us anything about any of this? Nothing. Matter of fact, it's like our local media only talks about Oakland when City Hall puts out a press release. So then it's like our local media is public relations for City Hall rather than a watchdog investigating and giving the public timely, relevant, and valid, my bad guys, long day, information that we can make decisions from. And so this is why you need to just watch Gotham Oakland. Because I don't know anybody else who's actually going to tell you things like Oakland is going to go bankrupt. Actually, before I read this, I'll leave it to the closing thoughts. Let me read this. And if you're out there still watching, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Share this video if you found value in it. And if you didn't find value in it, leave me a comment and tell me why. Constructive criticism only, please. All right. The city of Oakland stands at a crossroad. A stubbornly high crime rate threatens Oakland's economic competitiveness. While the city must address a 9-figure structural budget deficit, the city's changing urban fabric in the wake of the pandemic has brought greater attention to Oakland's public safety challenges, which in turn has constrained the city's ability to generate economic activity and its associated tax revenue, making the issue of public safety and budget more intertwined than ever. For decades, Oakland has attempted to patch together policing solutions without truly addressing its budget strategies. Most notably, the Oakland Police Department is operating, I don't know what I just did there, my bad. The Oakland Police Department is operating with sworn officer staffing that is very similar to levels of the mid-1990s, when the Oakland population was a mere 50,000 people less than what it is today. Status quo policies have resulted in status quo results, as the lack of prioritization of police resources has left Oakland unable to materially shift the public's perception of crime to create lasting reduction in the occurrence of reported crimes. Interesting comment. The dual crisis in public safety and budgets are playing out real time in Oakland. The city has faced a string of shootings in early May 2025, particularly in the downtown area. Has Barbara Lee commented on this yet? I haven't heard anything. At the same time, the proposed city budget for the next 2 fiscal years was released. The budget was billed as prioritizing public safety. However, its funding of OPD will only maintain officer ranks at current levels. Funny how that doublespeak works. So, before I move on with this executive summary, in 2022, the defunders were screaming, abolish the police, defund the police. When they realized that those slogans didn't work, they changed it in 2022 to reimagining public safety. Then in 2024's election, when they realized that people just wanted more police, they changed it to public safety is our #1 priority. They would do anything but say, I'm going to bring more police, because they have no intentions of getting us more police. It's showing in our budget where they're not trying to get us more police. And Measure NN that we just approved, which is supposed to get us more police, is being ignored, and we're not getting more police. Matter of fact, the budget cut our entire police academy. Let me continue. So while high crime rates and a budget deficit are not new challenges for Oakland, this report argues that with a new approach, one that places investments in public safety front and center, Oakland can finally move toward a future as a safe city with financial stability. So this report is a combination of crime data analysts in Oakland and peer cities, a voter survey of Oakland and East Bay residents, and 45 interviews with law enforcement experts and local stakeholders, and research on policing best practices. It presents a case for a need for new policing and budget approach to policing in Oakland so that residents and businesses regain faith in the city's ability to solve pressing public problems in the city's economic economy can grow vibrantly. I encourage you all to look at these reports for yourself. And I'm going to give some closing thoughts here and wrap it up. Here's why I believe that Oakland is absolutely going to go bankrupt. And this is something I've been saying since we started Gotham Oakland, because I was hoping that people in City Hall would listen and wake up and not do the same things that they have been doing that's leading us to bankruptcy. But unfortunately, it is too late. It is too late. We need to prepare for bankruptcy. And here's why. And remember, I need you to remember where you heard this first. All 224 of you who are listening live right now, I want you to remember where you heard this first. Remember that coal lawsuit that I've been talking about, where the city of Oakland was destined to lose, even though we kept dropping millions of dollars into it because our city attorney's office was hijacked by the Sierra Club and no coal in Oakland? And Ryan Richardson signed the pledge and sold out, and Barbara Parker sold out, and Libby Schaaf was an idiot and got us in this trouble in the first place. Remember that 9-year saga that everyone used to cover, and all of a sudden the city of Oakland lost a lawsuit? That's not what I'm getting at. That's not going to bankrupt us. Actually, with getting us finally past that, meaning that we can get back to business, meaning we can get that $1 million a year in lease, and we can get the taxes from all of that, is a net positive for Oakland. That's not what's going to bankrupt us. What's going to bankrupt us? And remember who was telling you all. Remember who was telling you all first. Look at this screen right here for Gotham Oakland. Oakland sued for $1 billion. Coliseum deal at risk. I've covered this many times. Judge Brenda ran to try to save us. Here's why this is important. The whole reason we're getting sued for $1 billion by Insight Terminal Solutions, for those of you who don't know, let me break it down for you real quick. 2-minute drill. Boom. Insight Terminal Solutions went bankrupt because they never got to ship their coal through Oakland. They are the ones who have the whole coal in Utah, and they're supposed to be shipping that through and out the country, out the port. They were formed for one purpose. They're a single entity company formed for that purpose. And they went bankrupt. Now, this company was valued at over $1 billion. So they said when they went bankrupt. And then they went into bankruptcy hearings to try to get some money back. The city of Oakland prepared an extensive brief. We sent lawyers and hired lawyers in Kentucky, 3,000 miles away, to interfere with this bankruptcy case at zero benefit to Oakland taxpayers. So our money that we pay taxes for to fix potholes and hire more police was hijacked by Barbara, city attorney, and Ryan Richardson to pay for lawyers to interfere with a bankruptcy case in Kentucky that had zero to do with Oakland taxpayers. And as a result of our interference, this company got tens of millions of dollars in bankruptcy, virtually nothing compared to the valuation of over $1 billion. Now, the moment that City of Oakland lost the lawsuit, not the appeals, but the first lawsuit, there were two lawsuits, whether we could ship coal or not, the federal, and then the breach of contract. When both of those lawsuits were settled, I know I'm past 2 minutes because it's hard to do this. My bad, I'm trying to get better. But when both of those lawsuits were settled, Insight Terminal Solutions sued us for $1 billion last summer. Now, is this lawsuit frivolous? No. If they had a valid lease and the city of Oakland broke that lease, they're going to win the bankruptcy case. Guess what happened? The lease was valid. This bankruptcy case pretty much depends on the OBAC case. And now that the OBAC case is final, and no, the Supreme Court of California will not be accepting that case. If you think so and you're spending more money on it, Ryan Richardson, you're an idiot. Stop wasting our money. Stop it. Just stop wasting our money on this. You lost. Okay? You lost. Period. We make the deal. There's actually something else I can't share it yet, but some explosive news broke about shipping coal through Oakland and the health impact. And every single city council person knows what I'm talking about. So stop lying. Don't lie anymore. I'm gonna bust you. We're gonna expose y'all. Y'all better stop playing with our money. So back to the topic here. We're gonna lose. We're going to lose. And so when we lose the bankruptcy case, my guess is on the low end, 50 million, very low end, 50 million. I'm expecting between $100 to $200 million judgment, if not more. We're going to end up paying anywhere between $1 and $1 billion after we lose this lawsuit. And when that happens, I want you to remember who told you. The only place you heard this information was Gotham Oakland. Matter of fact, go to Google right now, not a single mainstream news site, newsroom in Oakland, ABC7, Crown 4, KTVU, none of them have covered the coal lawsuit yet. Oakland side ran a very boring story about it. They did mention the Kentucky bankruptcy case, so maybe they're like trying not to get totally shown up by Gotham Oakland. But what happened? ABC, KTVU, you guys are really not going to cover this. You know why they didn't cover it yet? Because the city of Oakland hasn't put out a press release. The city of Oakland has not put out a press release about losing this lawsuit. They don't think we deserve to know as taxpayers that they just burnt, tens of millions of dollars and got us into some trouble we can't get out of in Kentucky that's going to bankrupt us. They don't think we deserve to know that. So if you think we deserve to know that, or if you know some more information that I don't know and you can send me some receipts and some evidence, send it to me here down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Do that for me. If you're on X, subscribe to my X channel. Go to Gotham Oakland, subscribe to that. Just do all those things, man. The algorithm with God, appreciate it. We are run by AI now. You don't know? I wish it wasn't the case, but unfortunately it is true. Now, if you're not in Oakland, I do appreciate you watching. And if you find value in this content or some humor in it, thank you. But this is a show for Oakland voters or would-be voters. If you can't vote because of your felon status or your immigration status, you still need to listen if you're here paying taxes into our system. Because the people in City Hall are taking our money. They don't know what they're doing. And it's time for a revolution. We absolutely need to break the system. We put in our budget. Part of our budget is that they just know we're going to pass another tax measure next year. They literally put in our budget that taxpayers will approve yet another tax increase next year. Think about that. Who does that? Who does that? You know what? You know who does that? The same people who sold the house to pay down the credit card bill some. The only revenue-producing asset in Oakland, our Coliseum. Besides the port that we own. We can't sell the port. If we could sell the port, we would probably sell the port. Seriously. Anyway, not good times for Oakland. City Hall should not be going on any type of summer vacation or recess. They should be going to work overtime to figure out this financial situation. They should be going back to the drawing board and amending this budget that they just passed, because this budget they passed will lead to bankruptcy, and they need to get ahead of the Kentucky bankruptcy case. I'm not sure how we're going to do that or if it's even possible. So what we really need to do is prepare for financial insolvency. And unfortunately, if you don't know what happens when the city goes bankrupt, we have a Gotham Oakland episode about that. I suggest you find it, go back and watch it, and support independent media. If you have any extra fiat currency, go to my Venmo and give me money on that Venmo. Give me some of that fiat or your Bitcoin or your crypto so I can pay editors and pay internet bills and all that other stuff to keep the show going. notice that I don't do a lot of e-begging because personally I think it's kind of cringe. But people have told me I need to ask people, and ask and you shall receive. It is biblical. So if you like this content and you want to support, please support it any way you can. Most importantly, share this with people in Oakland to give them access to information that they can make more timely, relevant, and actionable decisions on. That's the mantra. Timely, relevant, actionable. That is what the news is supposed to do. And since no one else will do it, I got y'all. Anyway, here I'm live here, but peace. I love you. Take it easy.
Listen. And it's a beautiful thing, but you can run across ignorance, right? You know, black folks, too many of them. One gonna be a damn fool, sad to say. But we gonna handle them with profession. But one of the little brothers gonna get out of line, and I'm gonna go whisper